Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel. This is Pravey. Now chaps, I have been watching NIO Day 2021. It has been a very interesting launch. You can see William Lee taking cues from Steve Jobs' presentations. You can see him taking cues from Elon Musk. It was a nice understated presentation put together by volunteers. Quite nice, brilliant touch on all accounts. And I particularly liked the feel-good stories. They were a brilliant touch. And the fact that, they talked about NIO volunteers, people who contribute their own time towards the NIO community. Now, it's an interesting thing. These feel-good stories, they create a bit of an emotional connection between prospective buyers and existing buyers of NIO with the company, with the product. And I think it will definitely drive the company a lot further than a traditional company that just focuses on products. Now I see Tesla as an energy company. Yes, they produce cars, electric cars. Yes, they have solar installation business on the side. Yes, they produce batteries. But you put it all together, they are trying to be a distributed battery storage company as well as a production company. NIO, on the other hand, I see as a lifestyle company. I guess they're producing products or getting them produced using a model similar to Apple, but I see them trying to get more into building communities of users of NIO products, and the fact that they are offering battery as a service and now autonomous driving as a service, this is another one of those really genius strokes of genius, brilliant touches on William Lee and NIO's part. I think this will definitely drive NIO, sorry, no pun intended, but I will see this driving NIO much further than most other car companies. Now let's get into some of the details. NIO announced a 150 kilowatt hour battery on the ET7, which is just announced. This would equate to a range of just over 1,000 kilometers plus. I think it's an amazing feat to constantly up the battery capacity. But one of the things that intrigued me most was the fact that this is a solid state battery. Holy mother of lithium, solid state batteries. I'm still thinking that batteries are on the solid state batteries are evolving. We aren't mature yet, but here we are. We'll start seeing the 150 kilowatt hour batteries with solid state technology, and beyond just the batteries and the fact that we'll start seeing the swap point 2.0s that allow cars to drive themselves in and get battery swapped and drive out. They are innovating all aspects, all these touch points where an owner, a driver of the vehicle, interacts with NIO. I particularly like the bit about having a charging point at a charging station at Everest Base Camp. So you could go all the way from Chengdu to Everest in an electric car. It's definitely flipping a few of the fears we have about electric cars on their heads. Really like it. This is very exciting stuff. Now let's talk about the ET7. It's an amazing looking car. I think it takes some design cues out of the Model 3, some design cues out of the Audi Q7, those bold, large wheels, definitely are Audi. The nose looks Tesla, the full glass looks Tesla-like. The invisible front vents are Tesla, but the fact that they've added them to the rear, those acoustic glasses, I wasn't so sure about the lights, but I can see them adding an element of ambience to the car. The 7.1.4 sound system. 7.1.4 sound system. It's a bit of a mouthful, a bit of an earful. It essentially means that there are 7 main speakers. There is a subwoofer, and then there are 4 overhead speakers, assuming 1 for each passenger. So it focuses the sound a lot better. There was a bit of a mention about Nomi. Nomi's quite, quite sophisticated. I think it's a really nice touch. I'd like to talk about some of the creature comforts in the car. In 87, look, the seats look fantastic. The fact that they have centered the design around comfort and creating a second sort of a living space, it's amazing. Just thinking from those stories at the prelude of the NIO day, imagine if you're stuck, there's a lockdown or there's checkpoints. You want to be stuck in a car that you're really comfortable in. Seats provide heating, cooling, massaging. There's acoustic glass to keep the noise out. The air cleaners have so a bit about fragrance in the car too. I've already talked about the front and rear air vents, and the display, 12.8-inch AMOLED display, brilliant. Look, I think the car is a nice touch. I think it's beautifully engineered as a luxury sedan. It's definitely being pitched at the premium Chinese market. I don't see the car heading to the US or any other overseas market anytime soon. Potentially might go to Norway. Would be good to see that. But apart from that, I think it's definitely a car aimed at the premium Chinese market who would be proud to drive a Chinese-made car, which on a lot of fronts matches and rivals, beats Tesla. Talk about some of those things. Look, there's tons of sensors in the car. It's designed as a car of the future, and I'm glad to see a car company not just trying to emulate Tesla, but up the ante. Those 11 8-megapixel cameras, they are definitely better in terms of at least the specs than the Tesla's 1.2 megapixel cameras. They have 3 times the range and finer details. You could see the demo, at least the comparison, and shown by William Lee, and you could see a lot of the details. You could in fact see some of the writing on the back of the truck. So maybe there's application for the car to sense when there's an emergency vehicle coming through. Just by seeing the writing on the cars and detecting vehicles from about 700 meters away. It's amazing. You could be driving at a decent speed and still have lots of braking space. And talking about brakes, those Brembo brakes, very sweet. I like the fact that there's a high-end, a production grade LiDAR sensor that has this 500 meter detection range. Apparently it's equivalent to 300 lasers, but less annoying to the human eye due to using a higher wavelength. And I really like the placement of sensors. Having sensors set up, the car is 1.5 meters tall, so it offers you some visibility above other sedans. Admittedly, most people are now buying SUVs, so how good they are alongside SUVs is anybody's guess. But it was the best placement of a sensor or a bunch of sensors you could have on a car. I think top points to NIO for that. the onboard supercomputer is processing close to 8 gigabytes of data per second, transferring 8 gigabytes of data per second and processing it. You'd have to have a very powerful computer, and as William Lee said, it's a full-fledged supercomputer, the most powerful one, most powerful mobile supercomputer. I see the performance as claimed for atoms to be 7 times more powerful than Tesla's full FSD. That's the full self-driving capability. That's impressive by any standard. I really like the element of autonomous driving as a service. It's genius. If you don't need it, don't subscribe. Whenever you need it, if you're traveling out, if you have that preference, subscribe to it, and you have it as long as you need it. I see Tesla being able to emulate that if they want to, because they can update the software and offer the same. But one thing that NIO definitely has an edge above Tesla on is battery as a service. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive in terms of infrastructure, but it doesn't take away the option of charging by plugging into the wall or at a charging station. But if you want to get in and out quickly, do a battery swap. That's brilliant, including unlimited swaps in the car price. Again, brilliant. All you do is pay for your battery subscription and you're good. Or buy the battery and swap away. The swap points apparently have over 1.4 million swaps already under their belt, which means they've tried and tested this. And the new swap stations have 13 batteries, which do about 350 plus swaps a day. That's great. You have infrastructure that's targeted. They're not overkilling it. It's and they sit alongside charging stations. So the other thing they're doing is creating destinations around venues that other Tesla users have, like the inn that was spoken about, was mentioned at the start of the show. You could have people coming in to an inn, as a charge the cars or leave the cars charging overnight while they stay at the inn. It's quite a nice touch. I think this is the sort of the edge that NIO has on Tesla, in that there are people who are building the services around their electric cars. It's not a clinical model. Not saying it's clinical, but it's very Tesla owns everything, and Tesla owns its charging stations, with the supercharged stations, and you can go in and hang out, but it's a Tesla thing. Whereas by having community own these charging stations, they are involving their users more. They're creating this ecosystem where people generate more kudos, more interest in the brand, and it's like word of mouth. The more people talk about it, the more your brand grows. The battery as a service thing is a nice touch. Like I said, I think if I were to have an electric car, there's one side of me that says get a 1,000,000-mile battery, get a car with a battery, and just keep driving it into the ground. But then I discount myself out of battery innovation, which means as batteries become better, have better storage density, I can't access it. Whereas with battery as a service or replaceable batteries, I can swap batteries as they become better, assuming the rest of the car can support it. But I think the other way of looking at it is, if you have a car, if a family that has 2 or 3 cars, you don't want to go out and buy cars that have um, you know one a car with a short range and a car with a long range, and then be restricted for driving a short range car just within the city, and then you take the long range car. What if you want to take 2 cars? You drive in, get a long range battery, and you're good to go. So I think that's a nice model. I think the ability for FSD to be personalized, the autonomous driving to be personalized by way of system on a chip, that is great. There's a war, it's an arms race for AI and automation. And while I'm a huge fan of Tesla, I think the Chinese are slowly getting an edge. And I think services like full autonomous driving taxis, they will be appearing first in a country like China, where these changes are easier to make. And when you look at the LiDAR technology on the ET7, you can see that they've considered a whole bunch of these options where, there's dense pedestrian activity, there's complex movement of traffic, and the car can detect things at long distances and process movements and almost the direction that things are going and the direction the car has to take or not take at breakneck speed. All of these things are amazing, and the fact that these things are coming to market at such high speeds, it is impressive. So I don't think full autonomous taxi service or full autonomous Uber-like service is that far off in the future. So one of the other things I was very, very interested to know about was the carbon credits. As a NIO owner, you become the first cohort of car owners who can claim carbon credits on the fact that you're offsetting emissions. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great idea, and it's also a great marketing model. The interesting thing that I was sort of thinking about was, well, great, you're giving your customers NIO credits, but it would have been nice to find out a little bit more about the points and how points work, because it could be an amazing model. And look, there may have been something more discussed in previous NIO days, but I think it would have been nice to have a bit of an in-depth showcasing of what NIO points are and how they work, because if I am a NIO owner, I'd definitely like to know how I can use my points. But I don't want to take anything away from a really brilliant NIO day. It's fantastic. Now, what does this mean for the stock price? Look, I reckon on Monday there will be a further rally. I reckon the price will be over $60, followed by potentially a sell-off from traders who want to catch the cash out on the news, and that's fair enough. But look, I'm not a investment advisor. This is me just doing an analysis on a product and speculating on what I think would happen. Please do your own research, please do your own assessment, and trade responsibly or invest responsibly. Look, I hope you found this useful. Thanks for listening to me, and I hope you're a lovely day or night, whatever the case may be where you are. This is Pravay signing out.